All right, so today we are going to be looking at the state of the crypto markets. Are we still bullish or are we still bearish? Especially ever since when Donald Trump decided to put the pause on the tariffs thing. In today's video, I'm going to be going through what I think is going to happen in the market right now and my current bias, my current trade, and why I'm trading in that direction, and also what I intend to do in the future regarding crypto. Basically, what I'm going to be covering in this video is what Bitcoin is going to look like, or what crypto is going to look like, generally speaking, for the whole of this year. So if this is something that you're interested in, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe, share with who you think will love this video. So let's get straight to it. All right, so firstly on my screen there, I have this amazing chart right now. Okay, so as usual for my analysis, I usually like to start from a bigger time frame, and then I'll scale it down to what I'm currently doing. It will sound like a story by the time you're done following up with this. So first of all, we're looking at the 1 week time frame here. This is a whole analysis on Bitcoin's entire lifespan, and what we are looking at here is all of the life cycles that Bitcoin has ever had. Look at this here. This chart started from 2011, right? I guess the oldest chart is about 2009 actually, but this one is old enough to help us to do what we need to do. Okay, so first of all, let me explain what is on this chart here. On this chart here, we have Bitcoin halving event, which is this white line here, So we had the halving event in November 2012, the first one. The next one was 2016, the next one was 2020, the next one was 2024, which was last year, and the next one will likely be 2028. If you don't understand what the Bitcoin halving event means, then you're probably going to have to Google it, but basically it's when the supply of Bitcoin reduces. And you know what happens? It's basic economics, right? Whenever the supply of something reduces significantly and the demand stays at the same level or increases, prices are likely going to go higher. That the value of that asset is likely going to increase. And that's what we have with Bitcoin. That's what we've seen with Bitcoin over the years, literally. So what we are looking at here is what I really want to point out is usually the top of a cycle. When you use this halving event to analyze this entire market cycles, you're going to get the bottom and the top. You're going to have to take my beginner course in order to understand this particular thing properly. But what I want to point out here is the top. By the way, if you want to take my beginner's course, send me a DM or comment the word beginner and you're going to get access to it. Keep in mind, it's not free. It comes with a small fee. I think it's about $8.5. So if that's something you're interested in, you don't know anything about crypto, you want to get into crypto, you should probably take that course. So back to this, right? This is the top of the market. So in each of these cycles, we've had tops, right? In the very first cycle on this chart, the top was in 2013 December, and it was 378 days after the halving event. And right here, in the next cycle after that was 2017, the top was at $23,000, and the price, and it was 511 days after the halving event. Now you can see these two days are completely different, but here's where it gets interesting. The next cycle after that was in 2021, and then the top of the cycle at that point was about, and then we had two tops in that cycle. The first one was about 364 days, which actually aligns with what we had here in 2013. It's about the same. This one is 378, that one is 364, of which you can actually get the same figure depending on how you draw the lines, basically, or the range. So you can see here on this same 2021, the next top was 525 days, and it aligns perfectly with this other top here in 2017. So you can see where I'm going with this. So we had two tops here, basically. Now, if we come to where we are currently in this cycle, the question would be, have we experienced a top? So what I did was I cloned the same thing, and I replicated it here. And as you can see very clearly, I mean, it may not be entirely accurate, but it is close enough in my opinion. Look at this. The market is actually reacting to this area here to be a top. This was actually pretty close enough. It's almost the same thing. Almost, very close. And then we still have this area here, which is the second top that's which is the measurement. We still have this area which is the measurement of the second top that we had in 2021, which also aligns with the top that we had in 2017. So all of these situations here makes me see, or makes me think that, or makes my bias be that we have not yet experienced a top in the market. Now this is coming from the cycle perspective. Let's go into some more details on why I really think that the bull market may not be over yet. Now, this is another Bitcoin chart. This is also on the 1 week time frame. This has a different analysis, but we are still maintaining this trend line. You can see this trend line that has been lasting literally since the beginning of the bull run. Look at it here from 2022 here, December, all the way to where we are currently now. So you can see it has actually followed very, very well. Now look at this. This thing here has actually dipped into the line here. It has actually respected it at this point, although we may still come down here, but I feel like anything below this area here would be an issue. Anything below 75k, or yeah, anything below 75k, especially if it now closes, would be an actual issue. So we don't want to experience that, and I really don't think that's even going to happen in my personal opinion. Let me explain that to you. So look at this here. You can see this chart here. We have something referred to as a falling wedge. A falling wedge. Now, a falling wedge is usually a bullish pattern. It is a situation whereby we have a incredible bullish move to the upside, then we have prices consolidate for a bit, only to continue in the direction of what was going on before. So with a pattern like this, we're expecting a breakout like this. This is the kind of breakout that we're expecting with a move like this, with a pattern like this. And this could take us back to new all-time highs possibly. But I feel like after this happens, it will likely be the top of the market. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that this looks like a falling wedge, and a falling wedge is a bullish pattern. And I shared this in my private group yesterday when I was telling people as to why I'm a little bit more bullish. I was even mentioning projects that I'm buying. So if you want to be in my private group, by the way, you can click the link below and send a DM to me, or just comment private group and I'll know that you want to join my private group, and perhaps I'll send you a link or send you a DM, or just tell you how to go about it. It's just $3 for the monthly subscription. All right, so back to this. If you look at this chart very clearly here, it makes sense for us to have a reversal right now because we're already breaking above. So look at this here. Apart from the fact that we're breaking above, you also had this significant thing here. Look at this candlestick. This is a bullish engulfing candle, a situation whereby the green candlestick is going to be larger or bigger than the previous red candlestick. This proves that bulls are more than bears in the market, and in such a situation, you do not want to be doing anything else but buying. Especially from an investment standpoint, this is like literally the best time to be buying Bitcoin right now. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm just saying, based on something like this looks like a perfect time to start accumulating some Bitcoin. And if we go to something like the oscillators, for instance, this is the MACD oscillator here. This MACD oscillator is one of my favorite indicators to use. And look at this. We're looking at this on the 1 week time frame, and we are having, the bearish momentum reducing. And you know the thing about supply and demand, once the sellers are no longer much in the market, we are likely going to have buyers come into the market. That's just the way it is. But for the buyers to fully come into the market, we need the bears to stop selling. And that is literally what's happening right now. These bears have, the bearish momentum is reducing basically. And technically speaking, this is usually the best time to start accumulating some crypto. Look at this here. We also have on the stochastic RSI on the weekly time frame, we have this cross already. We had the first cross here, we had the second cross here, which I don't think there's anything more bullish than this at this point. This is actually a very, very serious indicator. The fact that we have confluences like this is about 3 confluences in just one chart. So with such a situation, it actually makes sense to be a little bit bullish right now in this market. And look at this here. We usually build market structure on previous resistance, especially when you're moving in if you want to confirm an area to be a vital area of support. So look at this here. We had a significant resistance at this point here, and this created a very massive level in this area here. And the fact that prices have come down here to retest this area, it actually makes a lot of sense. And I suspect that later on in the future, we are probably still going to come back down here, but probably after prices have gone here. I think prices are only going to come here perhaps when we are approaching the bear market. So we could have a movement like this. Perhaps we establish a double top at this area here, and then we drop to this area here. If something like this should happen in the market, best believe that we are definitely in a bear market. That's for sure. I wouldn't doubt it, and I suggest that you probably shouldn't doubt it as well, because this will be the first clear indication that the bear market has started and you should probably get out of crypto. But for now, we do not have that, so we keep being bullish. but I keep being bullish anyway. I can't tell you what to do. So if we go to like a lower time frame, like maybe the 1 day time frame, to get a clearer picture as to what is going on the 1 day time frame, I'm in a little bit of a short position, nothing too serious, but just because of certain things. So look at this here. First thing I want to show you as to the reason why I'm in a little bit of a bearish position, which I may close very soon, perhaps even by the end of this video. But look at this here. This is the stochastic RSI on the 1 day time frame. We just had a bearish cross on the stochastic RSI, and we are not just having that bearish cross, we're having it at such a high point. You can see here. And if I show you what happened previously, look at this. Once we had this bearish cross on the daily, we had a little bit of a drop. It wasn't too much. It was just like about 7% drop, but I think this is a good move if you're trading on leverage. So because of that situation, you can see even when we have it somewhere like here, you can see what it led to. Massive drop here. Same thing we here, massive drop. So it's not something that you want to be ignoring. Nonetheless, though, I still think that it makes sense for us to be in a little bit of a an uptrend, which we are just having a little bit of a small pullback, in my opinion. But that's not the only reason why I'm a little bit bearish. If you go to something like the 4-hour time frame, so on the 4-hour, I was able to point out this huge rising wedge that we have here. Now, this rising wedge is actually pretty significant for why I'm in my short position right now. So a rising wedge is usually a bearish pattern, actually predicting that, you know, prices were dropping initially before, and then we're having a little bit of a correction just for more short positions to build up to drop the market further lower. That is essentially what the rising wedge is. So in this situation here, I was able to point out two areas here. We have the area at 85,000, basically 86,000, and then we have the area at 82,000. These are the two areas that would really trigger the markets for me. If we break below here, I think we are going to definitely come back to below 78k and below 80k to 79k if we break below 82k. But if we break above 85k, but if we break above 86k, in my opinion, it is a full-blown activated bull market, and we are likely headed back to new all-time highs. It's obviously not be a straight line. There will still be reversals, but nonetheless, something like this happening, something like that happening would definitely trigger me to start buying. Actually, I already started buying. I've been buying the dip for a while now, and I suggested a few things to buy in the dip. If you're not in my private group, then you should get to my private group where you'll be able to see all of these things that I'm buying. But right now, this is the major reason for my short-term bearish move, and this is something that I actually shared in my private group. If you're not in my private group, you need to get to my private group, because that's where you'll be able to see all the trades that I'm taking. So look at this here. This is the analysis that I dropped yesterday, and I mentioned all of these things that I just mentioned in this video. Now you can see this here, practically the same charts, and this is the stochastic RSI. So everything was given yesterday in my private group. So if my private group is something they're interested in, then you should send me a DM. It's just $3 to participate in my trading challenge. And we're in this short position currently. I'm predicting that markets are going to drop, but at the same time, I'm not too bearish. So here is my bias, generally speaking. I am short-term bearish, right? I think the market is actually going to drop just a little bit, but I think it would be, if it drops again, if for any reason the market should drop again, it would be the best buying opportunity you can ever see. That's if we are fortunate to have that market to drop again, but I think the market is pretty much bullish at this point. This is what I think, guys. I'd really like to know your comments in the comment section down below. What do you think? Do you think the market is still bullish? Do you think the market is bearish? Or do you think none of this concerns you? So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe, share, do all that nice stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.